Hey guys, this is Jesse, Gravitas Recordings. Today we're sitting down with Bassline Drift. We just released their new album, Proximity, and it's amazing. And I wanted to sit down with them today and give you guys a chance to get to know them and learn about the album, hear about how they met, and just give you a view inside these amazing people's lives and creative process. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit how you met, how the act came together, maybe the meaning behind the Bassline Drift and how that came to be.
Yeah, so we actually had never met before in person. We met through SoundCloud, and I had been putting up just cover songs that I was singing over, and they were pretty rough. And and one of them was a Beats Antique song because I love Beats Antique, and Keli came across it because he loves Beats Antique, so he messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to collaborate on something?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So we tried it, and it went so well that we were like, maybe we should keep going. And then after that, we said, maybe we should keep going. And and then it just sort of took off and became like, we just decided, okay, I guess we're legitimately going to be a band now.
Awesome. So how'd the name come about? Where'd you guys get that?
Well, the first song that we did was Drink the Water Down, and that was me as a solo project named Care Crowd featuring Sink. So the very first song we didn't know we were going to be a band yet, and then eventually when we realized that should happen, we kind of went through lists of cool sounding names and tried a whole bunch of stuff, and we ended up settling upon Bassline Drift because we felt that it would encompass all the different genres that we do while kind of specifying us in the electronic realm. But Bassline Drift is actually a project management term used when you are deviating from your desired target. And so you have to measure what that drift is so you can stay on course.
Cool. I know for me, the name jumped out, and just to give a little bit of backstory of how Gravitas came to know of you guys. Obviously, you live in, Keli, you live in Austin, Sink, you're in New York. At the time, Jackie Moon was working for us, and she was running, listening to the initial round of demos that we got. And, we get a lot of different demos, varying degree of finished products. And oftentimes I'll make a first pass, or Jackie would make a first pass. And so I thought we were caught up, and Jackie said, "Hey, you got to listen to these guys." And I was like, "No, I think I already listened to that one. I wasn't, it didn't make it." She was like, "No, you have to listen to this." And so we stopped what we were doing that day when we listened, and it was like, yeah, there's something here. You guys have, a lot of different dimensions and pulling from a lot of different musical reference, and so for us that was really exciting to hear this amalgamation of genres being just thrown into the blender and coming out. And obviously Sink, your voice on top of Keli's productions really is really exciting for us. So we're stoked to have you guys on the team, and it's just been a great journey. I think we look back, and it had been 2 years of working through, working at Drink the Water Down and working on the album, and now we're here today. So that's pretty awesome from a label standpoint to work with you guys and do some artist development, talking about where you want to go as a project, and being able to have a role in that is really awesome.
Yeah, actually, first of all, we gotta thank Jackie for pushing that. That was really kind of a lucky, fortuitous event. But then you guys, I think a lot of artists submit a lot of tracks to labels and they hope that it'll just get released. But what you guys did was really helped us develop our sound and kept pushing for a certain level of quality, and especially John Burcham helped keep us, help give us constructive feedback to really make it the project that it is today. And without that, I don't think
awesome.
It would be.
Well, let's dive into the album. Let's talk about for me, I think the two tracks that really stand out for me is Scoundrel, like that driving rock beat. I hear like Black Keys in there, and I cannot help but just when it's on. So tell us a little bit about how Scoundrel came about, some of the meaning, and where that started.
Well, the melodic part, I'll let Sing talk about the lyrical content, but the melodic part's actually almost a decade old. It was a little loop I wrote. I used to live in Mexico. It was a little loop I wrote on like a Boss recorder, foot recorder looper.
Yeah.
And I remember loving the riff, and I ended up just like recording it into Pro Tools. It survived a decade somehow and made it into this production.
Wow.
Yeah, well, and then so lyrically, he sends this to me like, hey, just check this out, see if it's interesting to you. And I was like, oh man, this is like a total Casanova song. Like I'm imagining like an old Western or something play out before my eyes. So kind of lyrically, it's just talking a lot about just men who are bad for you, I guess.
Used the term douchebag.
I did use the term douchebags, but I thought maybe I would refrain right now.
No, let it all out. No censorship here.
Right.
Yeah, there's like a duet. There's this whole like, story being told. I mean, I think that's one of the things I love about you guys' songs is that there's a story being told. It takes me somewhere. And so, I think that ties into, nature as well. Like, tell me about the genesis of that track.
I got it. So I was like, I think it was almost 1 a.m. or something. I just remember getting this demo in my email from Sink, literally one ukulele note over and over again. And she sang this song, and I remember feeling convinced that it must be someone else's song because I liked it so much. I was like, oh, she's doing a cover of someone's song. It's really good. Too bad it's not ours. And I was like, this is a cover, right? And she's like, no, I just wrote this. And I was like, yes!
Yes.
And that song was kind of magical because I went to New York to visit Sink for the first time. And we had booked some studio time with a dear friend of ours now, Ruben, at New Record Studios. And coming off the subway to record with him, I heard this beautiful violinist kind of echoing through the streets, and I followed the sound and I found Nathan LaRue, and he was just busking on the side of the street, and I went and asked him if he was interested in recording. He was a little like confused why the stranger was hitting him up, so I played him the demo on my phone, and he was like, okay, yeah, I'll be there in a couple hours, and then that turned into nature.
Wow. Definitely. I think one thing I love about that track, especially on the album, is there's 3 different versions. And I guess I just love to hear the different takes on it, and the acoustic version and your guys' original version and the remix. So that's really fun for a label to hear, these reimagining of a song and how strong each one of them can be on their own, but then to hear them piece by piece is really fun. So you guys need to go check this out. Go listen to it. It's worth your time and ears. So what about Our Own Home? I think that one's like a really touching moment, and I think at least for me, something that Gravitas wants is just really want to touch people's hearts, and that that's for me one of the main things that I get out of music is that moment. So I think, Sink, tell me a little bit about that song and where you're coming from.
Yeah, so that song is arguably one of our only happy songs. I don't know why we end up writing all this dark crap, but that was the result of the very first time that I flew out to Austin. We had been making music for like 6 or 8 months or something. And so I fly out, we spend 48 hours together. That's it. And I think we were so just excited by how well it went in the same room because we had been doing it for long distance forever. And then one day we're improvising and Keli starts playing something on guitar and I start singing, and that was what eventually turned into Our Own Home. And a lot of the lyrics are actually from that original recording, and we have a snippet of it in the album that you can hear, and we're obviously very giddy about it all.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I guess talk a little bit about the recording process, because you guys work kind of like what we're doing right now, like just Skyping between each other, playing each other riffs and vibing back and forth and using things like Dropbox and I mean that is a whole new world, and I think a lesson to a lot of producers out there that you just use the technology that's out there and like just don't let anything stop you. I think that's amazing that you guys could write an album in those conditions and Sink, you working a full-time job in New York and just going for it. Like that's badass.
Yeah, well, and I think like the name of the album too comes out of that, because the whole idea of proximity and being far away from each other, and then Keli would fly out here and we would record at a local studio in Jersey City called New Records, and they're just like, they're so awesome. And Ruben, who runs NR Studios, he just took us under his wing and showed us the ropes with a lot of the engineering involved. And so we learned a lot that way too. And then I would fly out to Austin and see Keli, and we would then record more in Keli's home studio. And so it really was just, the whole thing kind of culminated to become Proximity, and that's what made the name so special at the end of the day too, was that the whole recording process had been this like long distance back and forth, and so it just felt kind of prolific, I guess.
Absolutely.
How to be close when you're far away.
Yeah.
I mean, I think two things that I see with that is like, because you guys have limited time, it forces you to focus and really get down to business and bring your best ideas to the table and do your homework. And then also just, you know, having to make the most of the time you have. And then also just being, you know, working remotely kind of forces you to, I don't know, I think maybe think about things different. Do you feel like that's the case?
Yeah, I definitely think that we push it really hard when we get time together. We work our butts off because we're literally, you know, paying for the flights and we're paying for the time off. It costs money to get together, and so we have to take it really seriously. But at the same time, I think we've done a pretty good job at keeping it joyful and fun and having fun, and that's really important, especially to make sure that we want to keep doing it. Otherwise, why are we doing this? And, you know, there's so many tools out there now to help. There's low latency interfaces that help you stream audio quickly. So we're exploring how to take digital collaboration to the next level at a distance. But at the end of the day, it's very nice to get to be with your music partner in a room writing a song.
Well, yeah, and I think people will get to see a taste of that with you guys. We celebrated your album launch at Next Level at Empire in Austin, and that was honestly a magical show. Having Closey on the bill, having you guys on the bill, I got to play. I think it was maybe one of our best attended nights, and honestly, the energy and just everything that night was just on point. So. I can't wait for those videos to come out and showcase your guys' amazing set and talents. And so, is there anything else you guys want to share with people and give a little nuggets of what's coming up next? I know we got a tune in the can for an upcoming compilation. You guys working on anything else?
I would say we're working on too many things right now. We have a lot of material that we're sitting on, and it's all very different. And so I think you should get excited, because I think we're gonna have something for everybody that everyone's gonna enjoy, and we're getting a lot more sophisticated, I would say. So I'm really excited for the next wave to come out and for people to have that.
Yeah, Proximity is kind of 2 years old now, so we've had 2 years to write tunes. So yeah, hang in there with us as we take you guys on a very weird, energetic ride through our bizarre minds.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it. Well, thank you guys for your time. We're excited to see where Bassline Drift goes from here, and we'll look for more from you guys in the future.
Thank you, Jesse.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Bye, guys.